Anxiety, depression, stress, misery, anguish, unfulfilled potential, regret of the past, fear of the future, lack of confidence, and no self esteem. Well, enough about myself. My point is, we are living at a time in which the rates of depression are at an all-time high. And in simple yet sophisticated language, I will define depression as big sad. For example, one day you ask your mom, "Mom, can I have a chocolate ice cream? Because, it's chocolate." And your mom says no. Well, that will make you sad, unfortunately. But imagine one day you request your mom to buy you the 180 pieces packet of coloring crayons because, there's this cute girl in your class who wears this cute little frock and you want to impress her. And the only way at that time you think you can impress her is by buying those fucking crayons. So you ask your mom, "Mom, can I buy the 180 pieces of crayons?" And your mom replies, "Bitch, you don't even draw and we have enough crayons at home. On top of that, I'll never spend a penny on your bitch ass weird ginger fuck. And also, by the way, you're adopted." And the next day you go to school and what you see is that there's this rich cool kid in your class who has that 180 pieces packet of crayons that you so dearly wanted. And not only that, your sweetheart in a cute little dress is also a bit close to him. And then that's when you feel big sad, aka depression. Well, I'm not saying I feel inferior, it's just sometimes it gets too much. I think I need some time off. Can you please talk more about your relationship with your mother? Have you ever thought, "I'll be happy when I buy a house, get a better job, have more money, find true love, lose weight, buy a car, get married, have children, retire, go on a holiday, etc., etc., etc." Now be honest, did reaching that goal suddenly provided you with a wonderful feeling of happiness? Were you as happy as you thought you'd be? Did that feeling last as long as you thought it would? Happiness for most people is like a highly attractive woman. You chase it, but you never attain it. And even if you do, you realize it isn't as precious as you otherwise had assumed. Well, first of all, let me make this clear. I have no problem with people who are happy right now, or happiness in itself. I'd even say, whenever this feeling of spontaneous warmth blesses your door, you should gladly accept with open arms. But the whole problem starts when it becomes the fundamental orientation of your life, and when you actively pursue it, that's when a lot of problematic objections can be projected towards the maneuvering of pursuing happiness. There's a book by Tolstoy called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. In that book, the protagonist, Ivan, lived his life entirely for his satisfaction. Like everyone around him, he could imagine no other way to live. Then one day, he falls severely ill. He begins to waste away and discovers that everything that gave him pleasure and happiness has become distasteful. Delicious food starts to leave, literally as well as figuratively, a bad taste in his mouth. The closer death comes, the more he begins to grasp that in living for happiness rather than meaningfulness, he has wasted the only life he has. As the end draws nearer, the more horrible it seems to Ivan Ilyich that he has lived each moment for gratification in the present, leaving no meaning for the future. Fundamentally, the book attempts to illustrate that to live for pleasure means sacrificing one's unique soul. If you only had to extract one idea from this rich book, I'd say that idea would be that the inevitable suffering that life entails can rapidly make a mockery of the claim that happiness is the proper pursuit of the individual. If being happy made you content, then alcoholics would be the most satisfied people in the world. But they aren't. Why? Well, simply because just being happy right now isn't enough. You want to be happy right now as much as be happy tomorrow, and also a day after that, and also a week after that, and preferably, perhaps, also a month after that. You can never be satisfied right now if you aren't sure you'll be happy in the following moments, which, well, no one can assure you. The point is, happiness is fleeting, and a life is filled with suffering under whose presence the idea of pursuing happiness is just childish. In my opinion, you want something better than happiness, something stronger, something deeper than mere happiness. You might ask, if not happiness, then what should we pursue? And the answer to that question is, I quite frankly don't know. But my point here is that in the 21st century, aiming at happiness is analogous of aiming at mediocrity. For fuck's sake, we are living at the time of the internet and flying planes and machines which can comprehend way better than our small little brains ever could. And now, out of all the time, to be restricted to those happy chemicals in our brain would be a shame. What you should pursue is your own personal matter, and I won't even suggest what you should do, but pursuing happiness out of all the noble and great things you could pursue should be an embarrassment, downright embarrassment. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to tell you how you should live your life. All I'm saying is that happiness is a cheap substitute for the lack of willingness to go for greatness, or perhaps something even better. Happiness should be the byproduct of doing something great, but there's nothing more cheap than doing great things for mere happiness and not the reverse. You should think about what is the need for happiness for us as a species. We need to be happy so that we have a will to survive till we reproduce and take care of our children until they are of age to reproduce themselves. And that's it. In a far-off future, when us humans have discovered the mysteries of our universe and has found a way to transfer our consciousness into a machine, therefore transforming us into this superhumanoid godlike cyborg with inexhaustible health and wisdom, we look back at the 21st century and dimly remember our era of the people whose sole purpose in life was to feel happy and consequently survive, so that we serve our biological programming of reproducing. That is something which is bleak, yet the closest to the objective meaning of a life we have ever come. Programmed to pursue happiness, we are doomed to our own tiny fate if we don't look above and beyond happiness. I say, let's break the matrix. I say, let's reproduce not because we want to be happy, but because we want to be something far better. Let's reject happiness and embrace freedom from our psychobiological programming.